My name is Mia, and I just turned 18. It's supposed to be a milestone year, the age where you finally feel like you're stepping into adulthood. Yet, as I sat in the bustling local cafe where I work, I couldn't shake the sinking feeling in my stomach. Just a few days ago, I had marked my birthday in the calendar with excitement, imagining the party my mom promised me. But instead, it turned into a disaster because of Lily, my younger sister. Lily, a typical teenager, always grabs the spotlight with her dramatic meltdowns. And this time, when mom refused to buy her the latest gadget, she acted out in a way that made everyone in the house forget my birthday. "We can't trigger her tantrums with a big celebration," Mom said, her words cutting deep. The pain of being overlooked on a day that was supposed to be mine was unbearable. I had spent years resenting the constant comparisons, the way every little thing in our family seemed to revolve around Lily's whims. As I served lattes and pastries to customers, I could feel the weight of my frustration pulling me down. I stood there, a mere shadow behind the counter, invisible to everyone, including my own family. I knew something had to change, but what? With every birthday candle that I wouldn't get to blow out, it felt more and more like I was living someone else's life. Suddenly, a spark ignited within me. Maybe I could finally break free from the cycle of being forgotten, the cycle of living in someone else's narrative. I began to contemplate my next moves, the places I could go, the life I could create away from home, away from Lily's chaos. I'll tell you what happened after that pivotal moment. But first, if you're enjoying this story, make sure you subscribe for more dramatic tales like mine. The next day, I woke up with a heavy heart. It was supposed to be my birthday, a day I had spent weeks thinking about, only to be met with the harsh reality that my family was not celebrating me. I stared at the ceiling, feeling like a ghost in my own home. Mom had planned a huge family dinner, but ever since Lily's outburst, everything changed. When I came down for breakfast, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Lily was sulking at the kitchen table, tossing her hair over her shoulder as if the world revolved around her misery. Mom was hovering nearby, trying to comfort her. "I'm really sorry, sweetheart," I heard her say, "but I can't risk upsetting her." That sentence cut deeper than a knife. I watched as Mom prepared pancakes with a smile, her eyes flicking nervously towards Lily, who looked like she was ready to explode at any moment. It was as if my own birthday was of no importance compared to Lily's fragile emotions. "Mom, what about my cake?" I finally squeezed out, trying to draw attention to myself for once. The conversation immediately stopped, and all eyes turned to me. Lily frowned, folding her arms defiantly. "Can we not talk about that right now?" "Lily needs tending to," Mom replied, completely dismissing my attempt. I felt my frustration boil over, but I held my tongue. I had always been the responsible one, the one who avoided making a scene. Yet, apparently, being quiet and accommodating only meant I remained invisible. I forced a smile and finished my breakfast, pretending it didn't hurt. That afternoon, I decided to go for a walk to clear my head. I ended up at the cafe, pouring my heart into the steaming cups of coffee I prepared for the customers. With every drink, I tried to forget the sting of disappointment lingering from breakfast. But the truth kept gnawing at me. I felt utterly insignificant on what should have been a day of celebration. As I worked, I overheard a couple of regulars talking about their teenage years, their excitement about birthdays, and the kind of memorable moments that I had always dreamed of. It was painful to listen to, but it made me realize something. If I wanted to create my own story, I would have to be the one to take the first step. Maybe it was the way my grandpa pulled out a chair like he was making room for me at their table, and not just in their schedule. Maybe it was the exhaustion finally catching up with me. I told them everything. The canceled birthday. The decision made over my feelings. The way I packed my life into a bag and left without anyone noticing. We always knew there was favoritism, my grandpa admitted quietly, his jaw clenched. But we didn't realize it had gone this far. My grandma took my hand. You were always the one holding everyone together, Mia. You kept things running so smoothly that nobody realized how much they depended on you. Maybe it's time they find out. Their words struck a nerve. I wasn't just running away anymore. I was testing a theory. What happens to a house when the invisible pillars walk out? That week, my phone lit up with messages. At first, they were casual. Hey, where are you? From my mom. Did you take my charger? From my sister. Like I was still just down the hall. I didn't answer right away. I went to work, poured coffee, laughed with customers, and strummed my guitar during breaks. I started sharing more of my music on social media, tiny clips of songs about being overshadowed, being the forgotten child. Comments trickled in. This hits hard. I felt this my whole life. You're not alone. For once, my voice was echoing somewhere outside my house. Then the tone of the messages shifted. Mia, this isn't funny. Where are you? You can't just disappear like this. A missed call from my dad. 10 missed calls from my mom. A long message from my sister. So you ran away because you didn't get a party? Are you seriously that dramatic? That one made me laugh. Short, bitter, but real. I took a screenshot, not to expose her yet, but to remember how quickly the narrative could flip. The girl who cried her way into canceling my birthday was now accusing me of being dramatic. One night, as I sat on the back steps of the cafe with my grandparents, my grandpa said something that cemented everything. You know, he murmured, sipping his coffee, sometimes the kindest thing you can do for people who take you for granted is to let them feel what life is like without your support. Not to destroy them, but to wake them up. I realized then, my leaving wasn't just an escape. It was the beginning of a lesson my family had avoided learning for years. The question was, how far would things have to fall before they finally understood? It didn't take long for things to start cracking. News travels fast in our town and faster in our family. One afternoon, while I was wiping down tables during a slow hour, our neighbor Susan walked in, looking unusually tense. She ordered a coffee, then leaned across the counter. Mia, your mom is losing it, she whispered. Your sister's been acting out like crazy, screaming matches, throwing things, skipping school. Your dad left for work this morning with a suitcase. I'm not sure if he's coming back tonight. For a second, my stomach dropped. Not because I was surprised, but because it confirmed exactly what I'd suspected. I had been the quiet glue holding things together. Remove the glue, and everything starts sliding out of place. I'm fine, I told Susan when she probed if I was okay. I just needed some space. She sighed. I get it. Honestly, maybe this is what they needed. Your mom's starting to realize how much you did around that house. She told me she didn't even know where half the important documents are because you always handled them. That stung and satisfied me at the same time. Part of me wanted to rush home, fix everything, tuck the chaos back into neat little boxes so no one had to suffer. Another part of me, the part that remembered being told my birthday didn't matter, sat back and thought, no, let them sit in it. Let them see. That night, my phone blew up. Mia, this has gone too far. Your sister is spiraling and your dad and I are arguing nonstop. We need you home, my mom wrote. Not, we miss you. Not, we're sorry. Not even, how are you? Just, we need you. Like I was a tool they'd misplaced. I typed 3 different responses and deleted them all. Finally, I wrote, I'm safe. I'm working. I needed to leave because I wasn't being treated like a person with feelings. I'm not coming back to fix things. I pressed send and immediately turned my phone over, heart hammering. When I checked again, there were paragraphs of replies, accusations, guilt trips, attempts to twist the story. You're abandoning your family. We've done everything for you. Your sister is fragile. She can't handle this. But then, quietly, another message came in. It was from my dad. Mia, I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I should have. I stared at that text for a long time. Maybe he meant it. Maybe he was just scared. Either way, I didn't fully trust it yet. Meanwhile, my social media posts were gaining traction. I never mentioned my family by name, never revealed personal details, but my songs about being the invisible sibling, about birthdays that weren't celebrated, about leaving home to save yourself, those resonated. People commented things like, "My younger brother was the golden child, I felt this," and "Sometimes going no contact is the only revenge you can safely take." One comment hit me hard. The most powerful revenge is building a life that proves they were wrong about you. Revenge. I hadn't used that word out loud yet, but it was starting to feel accurate. I wasn't breaking windows or exposing secrets to the world. I was letting the truth breathe. I showed my grandparents some of the comments one evening. My grandma squeezed my shoulder. "They're seeing you, Mia," she said softly. "Even if your own family took too long." My grandpa, though, had a different angle. "You know this won't end with texts," he warned. "Eventually, they're going to push for a big conversation. They won't let this go quietly. Are you ready for that?" I wasn't. Not fully. But I knew running forever wasn't an option either. If I wanted real change, if I wanted real revenge, the kind that forces people to face themselves, I'd have to walk back into that house one day. Not as the girl they could guilt into silence, but as the woman who could look them in the eye and say, "I know exactly what you did, and I'm not playing that role anymore." The question was, when that moment came, would I let them apologize? Or would I finally make them feel the full weight of what they'd done? The breaking point came on a rainy evening, the kind where the sky looks like it's carrying everyone's secrets. I was closing the cafe when my phone rang again. This time, it wasn't my mom or my sister. It was my grandpa. "Mia," he said, his voice unusually serious. "Your parents came by the house today." My heart jumped. What did they say? "Your mom is shaken. Your sister had another meltdown. Apparently, she's been telling people at school that you're selfish, that you abandon them for attention. Your mom wanted us to talk some sense into you, to convince you to come home and help them get back to normal." I could practically hear the air quotes around normal. I laughed bitterly. Of course. Back to normal means back to me absorbing everything so no one else has to change. "That's what I told her," he said calmly. "Your grandma and I made something clear today. We're not going to help them drag you back into the same role you had before. If there's going to be a conversation, it needs to be on your terms." That was new. That felt like backup. For once, someone older than me wasn't asking me to be the bigger person just to keep the peace. "What did she say?" I asked. "She cried," he admitted. "She said she feels like she's losing both her daughters and her marriage. Your dad didn't say much, but before they left, your mom asked us to at least try to arrange a meeting. She wants to talk. She says she wants to understand." I'd heard that word before, usually followed by explanations about my sister's conditions and emotional needs. But this time I had leverage. I had distance. I had proof. "Okay," I said slowly. "I'll meet them. But not at the house. At your place. And I'm not coming alone, emotionally or otherwise." Over the next few days, I prepared, not like a scared kid waiting for a scolding, but like someone building a case. I printed out screenshots of messages where my needs were brushed off to cater to my sister. I organized notes of specific memories. Birthdays overshadowed, achievements ignored, apologies that never came. I even dug up an audio recording I'd accidentally captured once. my sister bragging to a friend on a call, saying, "If I cry long enough, Mom cancels anything for me. She doesn't care who she hurts, as long as I calm down." The anger that had simmered in me for years sharpened into something clear and cold. This wasn't just about feelings. This was about patterns of manipulation that everyone had excused in the name of keeping peace. And I was done being the sacrificial lamb for that peace. I played the recording for my grandparents in their living room. My grandma covered her mouth, tears welling in her eyes. "We failed you," she whispered. "We should have stepped in sooner." "You're stepping in now," I said. "That's what matters." My grandpa's eyes hardened with resolve. "When they come, we will not let them talk over you, Mia. You will say what you need to say, and they will listen." Part of me was terrified. Confrontations in my family rarely ended well. They usually dissolved into tears. My mom's, my sister's, and a quiet expectation that I would comfort them, even if they were the ones who hurt me. But this time, I had a different plan. I wasn't coming to soothe anyone. I was coming to deliver truth. On the day of the meeting, I got ready like I was going to war, not with armor, but with clarity. I wore something simple but confident, pulled my hair back, and looked at myself in the mirror. For the first time, I saw someone who wasn't begging to be chosen. I saw someone who had already chosen herself. Before I left the cafe, Greg stopped me by the door. He'd noticed the change in me over the weeks and knew something big was coming. "You sure you want to do this?" he asked. "I have to," I replied. "They've been writing my story for 18 years. It's time I take the pen back." He nodded. "Just remember, revenge doesn't always mean hurting them. Sometimes it means refusing to let them hurt you the same way ever again." I smiled faintly. "Trust me, I've thought this through." On the walk to my grandparents' house, my mind replayed everything: the canceled party, the quiet exit, the sleepless nights in the cafe storage room, the messages, the rumors my sister had spread, the support from strangers online who saw me more clearly than my own family did. By the time I reached the front door, I wasn't shaking anymore. I was ready. My grandparents opened the door and hugged me tightly. Inside, I could hear muffled voices: my mom's familiar pitch, my dad's low murmur, my sister's whining tone. They were all here. The stage was set. The only thing left was to walk in and decide. Would I let them rewrite what happened, or would I finally make them face the story exactly as it was? When I stepped into my grandparents' living room, every pair of eyes turned to me. My mom looked exhausted, her makeup smudged, hands twisting in her lap. My dad sat stiffly on the edge of the couch, staring at the floor. My sister lounged back, arms crossed, giving me a look that screamed, "Here comes the drama queen!" For a second, the old reflexes kicked in. I wanted to apologize just for existing in the middle of their tension, but then I felt my grandma's reassuring hand on my back, and my grandpa taking a firm seat beside me like a quiet shield. I took a deep breath. "So," I began, my voice steady, "you wanted to talk." My mom jumped in first. "Mia, we're worried about you. You ran away without telling anyone. Your sister is devastated. Your dad and I have been fighting nonstop. This isn't like you." There it was. The narrative where I was the one who had changed, who had caused the damage. I nodded slowly. "You're right. It isn't like me. It's not like the version of me you're used to, the one who swallows everything and pretends she's fine so no one else has to feel uncomfortable." My sister rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on. You left because of a party. You're being ridiculous." I turned to her calmly. "Do you really think this is about a party?" I asked. "Or is it easier for you to believe that than admit this has been happening for years?" Before she could snap back, my grandpa cleared his throat. "We're all here to listen today," he said firmly. "No one is going to talk over Mia, not this time. My mom opened her mouth, then closed it again. I pulled out the stack of printed screenshots from my bag and placed them on the coffee table. This isn't about one night, I said. It's about a pattern. Every time something was supposed to be about me, it became about her. Every time I needed support, I was told to understand, to be patient, to be the strong one. And every time she wanted something, the whole house revolved around her. I slid one of the printouts toward my mom. It was a screenshot of our birthday group chat. Her message: "We're canceling Mia's party. Your sister is too upset. We'll do something for Mia later." No, happy birthday. No, I'm sorry. Just logistics centered around my sister's feelings. My mom paled. I didn't mean, but you did. I cut in, not cruelly, just firmly. You meant exactly what you wrote. You've been meaning it for years. My dad finally spoke. We didn't realize you felt this. Invisible, he admitted. We thought you were independent, strong, less fragile. I laughed humorlessly. You confused silence with strength. You assumed that because I didn't explode, I wasn't breaking. Then I took out my phone and played the audio recording. My sister's voice filled the room. If I cry long enough, Mom cancels anything for me. She doesn't care who she hurts, as long as I calm down. My sister's face went white. You recorded me? She shrieked. That's so messed up. You know what's more messed up? I replied. The fact that you knew exactly what you were doing and kept doing it anyway. You weaponized your emotions and watched them cut into me, and nobody stopped you because they were too busy trying to keep you okay? My mom looked between us, horror dawning in her eyes. Is that true? She whispered to my sister. Did you use us like that? My sister sputtered. Everyone manipulates their parents. I was just... She looked around, realizing for the first time that no one was jumping in to rescue her. My dad's face crumpled with shame. My grandparents stared at her like they were seeing a stranger. For once, her tears didn't fix everything. I leaned forward. I didn't leave to punish you, I said slowly. I left because staying was killing me, because every time I tried to speak up, I was told to shut up in nicer words. Because when my 18th birthday, the one milestone that was supposed to be mine, got canceled to keep her calm, it finally clicked. I would never matter as long as I stayed in that house the way it was. My mom started crying. We were trying to keep the peace. She insisted weakly. We thought... You weren't keeping peace, I interrupted. You were keeping a pattern. Peace is when everyone's needs matter. What you built was a system where one person's comfort cost another person's existence. The room fell quiet. For once, my words didn't get swallowed by apologies or excuses. They just hung there, heavy and undeniable. So what now? My dad asked hoarsely. What do you want us to do? I looked at him, then at my mom, then finally at my sister, who was seething, embarrassed, and suddenly very, very small, without the usual protective shield around her. First, I said, you stop asking me to come home to fix the mess. I'm not your emotional janitor anymore. You learn how to parent both your daughters without sacrificing one for the other. You get her. I nodded toward my sister. Whatever help she actually needs instead of letting her tantrums run the household. And you stop pretending this was all just a misunderstanding. My mom swallowed hard. And you? She asked quietly. Do you ever plan to come back? I took a deep breath. I don't know, I said honestly. Right now, I'm building a life where I'm not invisible. I have people who see me, who value what I do. I have music. I have space to breathe. I'm not giving that up to return to the same role I had before. My grandma nodded approvingly. My grandpa leaned back, satisfied in that subtle way old men do when justice finally brushes past their doorstep. My mom sobbed harder, but this time I didn't rush over to comfort her. My sister glared at me, but her usual sharp words were gone, swallowed by the sound of her own exposed manipulation. My dad wiped his face, looking at me like he was meeting me for the first time. "You're right," he said quietly. "We failed you. And if you don't forgive us now, or ever, I understand." Hearing that didn't erase the hurt. It didn't magically fix 18 years of being sidelined, but it did something important. It shifted the weight. For the first time in my life, the guilt wasn't sitting on my ribcage. It was sitting where it belonged. On them. I stood up, feeling lighter and heavier all at once. "I don't know what our relationship will look like in the future," I said. "Maybe we rebuild something new. Maybe we don't. But I do know this. The version of me that lets you walk all over her is gone. If you want me in your life, you're going to have to make room for me as an equal, not an afterthought." I walked to the door, my grandparents beside me. No one stopped me. No one demanded I stay and fix the shattered mood. Outside, the air felt different, clean, honest. I checked my phone. A new comment had appeared on my latest song. "Sometimes the best revenge is finally choosing yourself and letting the people who hurt you sit with what they've done." For once, I fully believed it. So that's what I did. I went back to the cafe, to my music, to the life I was building piece by piece. My family? They were left to face the chaos my absence exposed and decide whether they'd grow from it or drown in it. If you were me, would you ever move back in after everything? Or would you let your revenge be the life you build without them at the center?